Alright, waiting for the DVD release, I finally sat down and watched Taken 2. And I just kept saying to myself before I watched this movie, please do not ruin this sequel. Taken 2. So Taken 2, of course, is the sequel to Taken 1, and it is pretty much the same plot as the first one. Well, actually, it's the same plot as the first one, but they give a little explanation. It is a revenge story from the first one. For those of you who watched the first one, of course you watched the first one. Why would you watch the second one if you didn't watch the first one? But if you watched the first one, you remember that one of the villain characters in the movie was killed by Liam Neeson. You know, he tied the guy up to the chair and electrocuted him to death. Well, apparently that guy's father found out about it, found out who did it, and sent his men out to go capture him, take him, and ruin his life. And now we have the plot to Taken 2. So how is Taken 2? It's actually a lot better than people are making it out to be. People have just hated on this movie. It's a very mixed opinion when people talk about this movie. Some people say it's a pile of crap. You know, some people say that it's a great action flick that's better than the original. I don't think it's better than the original. I think it's a good movie. But I do not think it holds a candle to the original. And as a sequel, that is not a good thing. But as a movie on its own, it's better than a lot of the other crappy movies I've seen over the years. The plot of Taken 2 pretty much goes that Liam Neeson apparently is back working as an agent. He apparently stepped out of retirement to go back to work. His wife and his daughter are still living with a rich guy, but apparently things are not going so well. So he invites them over to where he's working after he's done. They can go vacation there. And when they get there, apparently the guy's waiting for them and they take them away except for the daughter. So Liam Neeson and his wife, or ex-wife, they are taken. And the man promises to torture them and kill them after he's ruined Liam Neeson's life. Now, what I really liked about this movie is that it wasn't as bad as people kept putting it out to be. I mean, okay, the movie does kind of rush things here and there, and they probably shouldn't take as much time in this scene or two. And occasionally, it does have that kind of shaky cam, just a little bit of shaky cam here and there. Not like, oh, shaky cam, no, just a little bit. And there was this incredibly long driving scene in the movie, a really long driving scene, longer than they took for the action scenes to happen. But actually it wasn't that bad, and the action in the movie was pretty cool. Liam Neeson still has it, man. He still made this movie cool playing this character. And the villain, it could have been better. I mean, the good thing about Taken 2 was that it wasn't necessarily a villain. It was just head of a mob family, or not head of a mob family, but a head of these criminals, you know? They didn't have to be a villain in this one, but they decided, yep, villain in this movie. It kind of waters it down from the first movie, you know? And there were some ridiculous scenes in the movie, but they did try to make them make sense, and I give them props for that. I mean, there was some cool stuff where Liam Neeson was doing his secret agent stuff. Like, there's a part where he's getting this, like, bag over his head, and he's being taken away. He can't see where he's going. He's got his hands all tied behind his back, and he's got his bag over his head. He can't see anything, but he keeps listening and counting down. I'm like, what is he doing? He's like, oh, I get what he's doing. Very cool. I'll say that there could have been a lot more action to this movie. There could have been less parts here and less parts there. They could have spent less time with the family and gotten right onto the movie, or at least made the movie a little bit longer when the action starts to begin. Was the movie worth the $17 that I paid for it on DVD? Yeah, I guess it was. It was okay, and I probably will watch it again. So I will say it was worth my $17 and the replay value since I watched it with my friends. Is it better than the original? No, it's not better than the original, but I didn't expect it to be. I'm holding this movie on its own, and as its own movie, it's a pretty decent action flick, definitely worth a watch. If you're very skeptical on it and you haven't heard like a lot of reviews on it, or if you have heard a lot of reviews and people have hated on this movie, just know it is not as bad as people keep saying it is. It's just not as good as the original. Definitely check it out. It's a pretty decent flick. You'll have a good time watching it. You're not going to hate this movie. Alright guys, that was my review for Taken 2, and I will see you guys on the next After the Show.